Well, I want to put this out as kind of a common sense message and actually to see, just to tell people where I stand on a lot of stuff, but where I stand on a lot of stuff I think is common sense. But I want to warn the average person, maybe my audience does know this or maybe they don't, but the judicial system in the United States, although better in some ways in a lot of countries, in other ways it's got to be screwed up because we got an incarceration rate in this country per capita higher than even communist China, which says a lot right there. Um, I realize there's a game going on called prison for profits. The corporations have gotten into the prison system, and actually they've been some of the most corrupt ones going. Um, Also, even talked about Wackenhut, who was involved in that, and they lost their contract with Texas at one point in time, way back when. And but to popularize the judicial systems, you'll have stuff like this judge, whatever her name is, Judge Judy, on television, which I never watched to tell you the truth, but it's kind of like gives the public perception. I saw it on television. This is the way it really works. No, it's not how it works. Now, they also have Judge Jeannie Perot, which she's a conservative, whatever the hell. Um, she looks nice. She's got a pretty face, and she's a judge. I barely watch her ever because she's telling me some crap I already know. It's like, big deal, lady. You're a judge, and you got a hot body and a nice face. Everybody watches you. That's really the game. And actually, most everything is a big damn show. It's keeping that public perception a certain way to alleviate you from getting mad at the judicial system. Now, there's always the big game out there defending liberty, pursuing justice. Oh, yeah, you committed a crime or whatever. Well, it's not that simple, to tell you the truth, in a lot of ways. And I began picking up some complaints online about some different things going on in the judicial system, and I'm thinking, well, you got to consider the source. But when I started talking to other people that are far more knowledgeable, professional, and understand what's going on, I started finding out, well, the judicial system is flat out corrupt. And that is why we partially have, one of the reasons we have the highest incarceration rate in the United States, which I can tell you right now, for the most part, that is not rehabilitating anything. I don't even know why they call it the corrections, whatever the hell it is, because it doesn't correct anything. It's, I know some people think, well, let's make them work so we get our tax money out of them again. It's bullshit. It's freaking a plantation. That's what it is. It's global slavery or it's national slavery. Now, I'm probably going to say some things on here maybe you never heard of, and one I'm going to tell you that the FBI themselves admit that up to 10% of the people behind bars in the United States are completely innocent. They didn't do one damn thing wrong. That's per the FBI. Now, I could probably tell you that if you're using a little common sense, if that's what they admit, 10% is completely innocent, it's probably a hell of a lot higher than that. Then on top of it, you have all these drug crimes or crimes that really didn't hurt anybody, or it's like I don't know what it is. Maybe you didn't pay a fee on your fishing license or something, and they confiscated your boat and they arrested you or something because you're fishing or whatever. And if you don't have enough money to pay an attorney to, you know, get the mercy of the court, well, you're screwed, right? They'll just slam you because in a lot of ways, the judicial system is paid for by the state, the county, the federal government, or whatever the hell it is. And they make it sound like, like you go to a court, right? You got basically the whole thing's rigged against you. They're all getting paid. You don't get paid. You're paying out of pocket, right? That's how that works, right? And So basically, you're guilty by having to pay money, whereas these people, it guarantees their check. The judge is paying paid for by, the taxpayers, which paid for, he works for the government. The district attorney works for the government. The district attorney has a major and financial incentive to prosecute the crap out of people because it makes them look better, so they can move up higher and higher, or the prosecutor can move up higher and higher to like a position of a district attorney. One good aspect of the United States judicial system versus the UK judicial system, at least U.S. judges are elected for the most part, as far as I know, versus being appointed. And the UK, they're appointed. So I could say that's one thing better. But I don't really think something's really wrong with our system if we got this really, 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 really high incarceration rate, like with the fake war on drugs. Now, I don't think a lot is going to change with Trump getting in office. I mean, he's done some things that are really great, and I know what he's done. You know, relief from Obamacare and all this kind of crap, which didn't affect me in the least anyway. He's building a wall, which don't affect me anyway. He's stopping possible bad refugees from coming here or something. That's, I don't know, whatever he's doing. But he's got, like, you got the Homeland Security. Why not just get rid of the damn thing? Get rid of it. What the hell? That's a national police force. That is the Gestapo. He's also pushing for, more power into NATO. I mean, I guess he can't do too much because you know what? He'd be dead. I mean, I can't blame him too much. And one of my main angles is this: you can't depend on one guy to fix it all. I think Trump is a much, 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 much better choice than Hillary Clinton by light years. But he ain't going to save the world. People are going to have to start waking up big time. And I'm not talking about the drama crap that comes off the alternative media, because, boy, I really got pissed off at Gerald Celente when he said Italians are the chosen people, not the Jews. Now, me being half Italian, and I don't have any Jewish blood as far as I know, I think that's a major insult. I can't believe that guy's saying that crap. That blew my mind when I said that. I heard that shit today. And everybody's got their angles. I'm not putting out a drama video here. I'm just trying to tell you that the judicial system itself is actually putting the brakes on the economy in the United States, for one. Not only the encroachment of more taxation. Remember, I talked about sales tax didn't come about in this country until the early 1930s, which was during the Great Depression, because the government needed money. Some of the state governments were going to go under, so 14 states passed sales taxes in the early 1930s. Then in the 40s, more came on board. In the 60s, more came on board. And I think today there's Oregon, Montana, and New Hampshire are the ones that don't have sales tax. That's it. I think Delaware, too. I'm not sure if Delaware's, they might have fell, too. I don't know. But Delaware used to not have a sales tax real recently. But what I'm saying is the judicial system is another money-making racket. All attorneys charge between, I don't know, $250 to $500 an hour. And the government doesn't pay your attorney. So obviously you got the card stacked right against you. Now this guy, Comey, is a classic example. And, of course, he's not as bad as like Janet Reno of Waco fame, where she says, I'm going to save the kids and burn them all alive, which I can't believe that broad is still breathing today. That's the most criminal act going. It was a torturous mass genocide against the kids that were at Waco by Janet Reno, right? But, I don't want to say that this guy's worse than Janet Reno. He's not. But he was all tied in with HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation, with, the money laundering, with the drug money. Of course, I think he coyly kind of set Hillary Clinton up, which was kind of cool, because even though he found her not guilty of any kind of wrongdoing or not worth the investigation time that he's, furthering an indictment, not pursuing an indictment. But he helped bring her down in a way, coyly in a way. But the thing is, this guy being the head of the FBI is dirty as all hell. That's why I'm saying, even way back when there was prohibition going on and, you had the untouchables, well, that implies something too. The untouchables were that small branch of the FBI that couldn't be paid off. In other words, all the other ones could be paid off, which is like, why the hell are the taxpayers paying them the money? But you know what what were they doing in the first place? They were going after illegal alcohol, but you know what they're also doing? They're going after illegal alcohol that could fuel cars. Because back in 1932, that's when they passed the gasoline tax to help fund the government during the Great Depression to put more brakes on the economy, which was also the time of Prohibition, which John D. Rockefeller was actually the one that really, financed the movement behind getting Prohibition in law, was to stop the competition coming from the farmers who sold alcohol on their farm, so you had to buy it from Standard Oil gasoline from his company. So, in other words, that's another racket that was going on not only through the taxing system, but also the judicial system to force people to buy fuel for their cars from Standard Oil, which in turn would now have a gasoline tax as of 1932, which started during the Great Depression. You think that didn't help put the brakes on the economy even more? J. Edgar Hoover was a master of deception. J. Edgar Hoover used to go into Hollywood and make sure that he never did anything to put any kind of dirt or display the agency in bad form. And I don't want to just pick on the FBI, because I could tell you that the CIA and major portions of the CIA itself are basically and blatantly working for Wall Street. They are an arm of Wall Street. To put it indirectly, I'll use that word Wall Street in quotes, but of the money powers. And that's really the problem of government itself. They always say government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but basically government has become for the money powers, for the corporations, for the big banks, to enforce laws against us. But they gotta keep this image. Now you can see Comey's a tall guy. Look at him. He towers over Trump, who's like 6 foot something, right? But it's like, I got no respect for these people that are supposedly protecting us. I don't really have any respect for them because, they got guns, I got guns. They know how to shoot, I know how to shoot. If somebody's trying to kill me, I can take care of the situation just as easily as this guy probably could for me, which he'd never be Johnny on the spot anyway to protect me. So, I don't know what the hell I'm paying these guys for, because I could tell you one thing. They're failing miserably on the war on drugs, because why? They're part of the war on drugs. They're part of the drugs coming in this country. And that's why we have so many people in prison. And it's a lot of it's drugs. Now, one of the other examples I could see there was a blatant miscarriage of justice was this Lavoy Finicum. You remember the so-called car chase? Well, they made this guy run. Remember the gunshots? If you look at the videos, I know it's like getting to be old news now, but I'm going to rehash this. But you remember the gunshots that were fired at the car when they stopped him in the middle of nowhere, where they could have got him in town or got him at the camp anytime they wanted? Oh, they were setting him up in an ambush. He was coming out with his hands up outside the car. You look at the video, the actual cell phone video from inside the car. He's walking out the car with his hands up, and there's a bullet hole goes right through the roof, right next to his head. They wanted to just kill this guy. That's all there was to it. This was a flat out murder. And it was done by the people that we pay for to supposedly protect the public. But back if you go back into New York City, New Jersey, and stuff, the major media and all the you see the people up there, they also know how to they deliberately play the game of what the major media says. Me, when I used to live up there, there was one place I used to really like in the Northeast. That was New Hampshire. No sales tax, no state income tax, and the motto, which was even on the license plates of that state, was live free or die. There's one Yankee state up there that I could say is damn good, New Hampshire. And to tell you the truth, Trump won that state because they found many, 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 many thousands of votes that came from out of state that were deliberate Hillary plants to influence the election. Trump actually won New Hampshire, believe it or not, which it's not implausible to believe that. Now, another thing I can tell you about with the judicial system. Now, I'm not saying something that's anti-gay, homosexual, bisexual, lesbian, or transgender, gender blender, or whatever the hell it is. But just when you're looking at legal precedent, what is marriage defined of as in this country? Legal precedent. All legal precedent in this country about marriage is between a man and a woman. It's not between a man and a man and a woman, or transgender and a man, or transgender and a woman, or transgender, or gender blender, or whatever the hell it is. It's between a man and a woman. That's by legal precedent. You're not supposed to be making up something new, but we could say that the Supreme Court did not make a legal decision based upon precedent and what happened in all the historical laws that we've had on the books in the United States for umpteen years and centuries. No, they made a decision based upon politics, which means anybody with a robe can be bought. So what does that tell you? The judicial system is rigged for the rich. Now, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. And now Obama, of course, he's gay as all hell, but he probably, if Joan Rivers opened up the door on that and said all that stuff about his wife being a transgender and him being gay, and you know what happened to her? She's dead, right? Which cause and effect, in my mind, that's open and shut case right there. But some people would say no. Now, the deal is, though, with Obama is that he is somebody, he doesn't give a damn. I don't think he gives a damn about anything. He never did. I don't consider him gone because, when people realize what this guy, I'm talking about his supporters, realize how bad this guy was. Now, like I said, I'm not a Trump worshiper, okay? I just know that Hillary Clinton was probably the most corrupt piece of crap we ever had, even attempting to get in the office of the presidency. So I would not vote for her in a million years. That's all there is to it. It's not that I'm a Trump worshiper and I think Trump's going to save our ass, because I can already see he's doing some things right, and he's doing a lot of things. He's feeding the power mechanism. But with Obama, I can tell you one thing. He did not do a lot of things that... I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have released probably 1 million people out of prisons. Serious. Maybe it would have to be on a timetable, and it'd probably have to some kind of skill set work seminars to get them out. But I would have released 1 million people out of prison. And they wouldn't just be black people or white people. They would be a mixture. And they tell you the truth, I think the terms black and white are racist terms. The terms for the Caucasian and the Negro races ought to be beige and brown. Because nobody really is white and nobody is black. But I think that's another thing they put the powers that be actually implanted in people's minds to make it look like there's some kind of opposite poles there, because it almost sounds like positive, negative, up, down, or whatever, left, right. What the hell? We're actually beige and brown. And actually, we consider the term color to be far less racist than the term black. But that's, how they condition people to think, well, that's the new term. But you see how I think? I do not follow what the major media tells me. Now, this guy, I know there was the conservatives were up in a, well, actually, what is it? It's Chelsea Manning, used to be Bradley Manning. Obama released her. I'll say her, right? Whatever, I don't know, whatever DNA's of him, but her, whatever. But um, and he commuted the sentence. And the conservatives are up in a roar on that. Me, now the conservatives are up in a roar because you released some black people out of prison and a couple white people, right? I would release way more. So, I mean, am I conservative? Not exactly. Am I liberal? As in the case of the way they define it today? No, because they define liberals today as they're communists. They're not liberals. I'm actually what you call liberal as the way the founding fathers meant it. You know? Um, this person here is Bradley Chelsea Manning. I would have pardoned him. I would have said, the hell with it. First off, more damage is being done to our forces by our own major media and the people behind the scenes controlling the military than this person ever did in a million years. That's the way that I look at it. You know? I don't know. To me, the person wants to go from a male to a female. They probably got some problems in their head, so maybe they didn't understand what the hell they're doing when they were betraying our security. Because that person doesn't really have a rational, well, in my opinion, that's the way I would justify it. The person, I would say it that way, and maybe the major media would jump all over me saying, well, the person doesn't have a rational mind. They're going from male to female, and I don't know why they're doing that, so maybe they're not rational. So whenever they made the decision to give out information, fine, you know, they weren't rational, so screw it, whatever. Um, as far as, you know, him, Obama releasing all these prisoners, oh, shit, I would release a million of them. Now, I'm a guy that puts out a lot of stuff on the Confederate flag. But, you know, I already know that game with the Confederate flag and the false flag from, what's his damn name again? Dylan Roof or Dylan Roth with one N and Roth, if you look on Facebook, when, you know, it's the same face. The guy from UK that was supposedly killed a few years before Dylan Roof appeared on the scenes. Man, does that sound like a freaking psycho? But you know what? They don't want you to know that either, because you know what that's about? That was fighting about autonomy and self-government by the people. The right to be taxed for services that the people are receiving in their region versus being taxed by a central authority and going to somebody like James Comey, who hides a lot of crimes that are going on in the U.S. government that are being committed by the big money powers. But, you know, getting back to this justice system stuff, you know, I don't think the American Bar Association, I'm sure it is actually, it's not, I don't think, the American Bar Association is not, they basically rubber stamp judges. I think that if you really had a free and open forum, that the public can give feedback on all these judges, and they can write stuff, no matter what it is. I mean, it could be bad, good, whatever, indirect, and then other people can read it. Oh, you would see a lot of these clowns wouldn't be reelected. But what happens now is that the American Bar Association, see, I noticed this in Florida myself, and I said, wait a minute. The American Bar Association is saying every single judge in the state of Florida is being endorsed by the American Bar Association overwhelmingly during the last election. And I said, wait a minute. You're kidding me, right? And I thought to myself, this bullshit. No way. No way. Because I heard stuff from other people that were high-powered people that weren't somebody, you know, some people that I respected their opinion of, that know a lot what goes on within the legal system, that some of these judges are crap. They're really crap. They're no good. And yet the American Bar Association was endorsing them. Now, actually, what I did was I voted all of them out except for one guy, and the guy I didn't vote out was actually he was an Hispanic guy. I forgot his name, Lost something. because I saw him reprimand one female judge that threw a woman in prison for 3 days, or in jail, excuse me, in jail for 3 days because she missed a court date. She had a problem with her kid, and she had this like 1-year-old kid, and the female judge, threw the female in jail for 3 days for missing a court date. And this other judge lost something. I think he was Hispanic, I forgot his name. It starts with L, I think. Um, he reprimanded her. Now, personally, I would have hung her by her feet and beat her with a stick. I'd been a lot better and kicked her out of the freaking judgeship, whatever the hell it is they're in. But I don't think it was good enough to reprimand her, but at least he did reprimand her. And I'm thinking, where are these other guys? I mean, I would have never done that in a million years. You know? I mean, the worst I would have done, man, I must be Mr. Lenient. And I'm supposed to be conservative, a guy that supports the Confederate flag. Oh, isn't that, I'm supposed to be the bad guy? Well, let me tell you this. If I was the judge on the scene there, I would have made sure, the worst I would have done to her was I would have made her do like 3 or 4 hours community service on a weekend for missing a court. I wouldn't have done shit to her, really. That would have been the worst. Something where she didn't have to pay money, and she just had to do something for the community. So, I wouldn't have done nothing to her. I'm like, holy crap. I mean, and that was a female judge that did that to her. You believe that? To another woman. And I'm thinking she's still a judge. The worst she got was, oh, don't do that anymore. Like, holy shit. If you did that to somebody, they'd be throwing everything at you. That's what I'm telling you. The whole justice system is a pile of crap in this country. And the war on drugs is a fake. Most of the law enforcement is just assigned to protect the money and themselves. And actually, I kind of hope that, I'm not a doom and gloomer. I don't want the U.S. economy to fail, but I don't really know how this would work. I would like to see the government fail somehow and the U.S. economy thrive and survive and prosper. But I guess if the U.S. economy thrives and prospers and survives, the government's going to thrive and survive too. I don't know how the hell you see, once these jerks, it's almost like the camel with the nose under the tent is a good example. Just like we got FEMA now, we got, the Department of Homeland Security, we got the DEA, we got Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, you smoke, drink, and shoot guns at the same time. You put it all under one department. Anyway, that's funny, man. I don't know what he had to, well, I guess that's from Prohibition. And, you got the FBI. I mean, you didn't even have all this crap back in 100 years ago. And the country did way better. We didn't have any sales tax 100 years ago. Now, if you go back, you go back to 1912, because 1913 the income tax was first passed. Well, we didn't have income tax. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. Actually, if they didn't destroy the South so damn bad, they would have just kept it, a freaking extortion racket on the Southern Dixie states, man. That's all that crap was. Southern Dixie states were paying 80% of the federal government taxes anyway, all the way up to the War of Secession in 1861. And what happened? Hey. Then it came out direct taxation on income from Abe Lincoln, which was later ruled unconstitutional, so they had to go with a constitutional amendment to amend the Constitution to get the income tax passed. But, if they would have left it alone and they didn't extort the South so damn bad, we wouldn't have an income tax today. We wouldn't have a sales tax today. We wouldn't have state income tax today. We'd only have tariffs to get our damn money. Which we wouldn't need all these guys. You guys that are in these fancy uniforms with the body armor and the helmets, you be farmers. And you have your gun, just in case some prairie dog is coming out there to go bite your sheepdog or some shit. That's what you would have your gun for. And you get your own food. You'd be growing your own food. You'd be eating organic. And you'd be living a lot longer and healthier than any kind of government bennies and healthcare crap they'd be giving you anyway. So you'd be doing a lot better. And you wouldn't have to be listening to Mr. Yo-Yo over there with the red tie. So how's that? How's that? Pretty good? 'Cause I ain't really against you, man, but I'm like, you know, when you do stuff like, to this Mr. Lavoy Finicum like it was done to him, hey, man, I got to look at the facts. And, of course, the judicial system doesn't look at the facts. They don't look at the facts. So anyway, I kind of brought up a lot of hodgepodge of different things, but I want to give you a mosaic of what's going on. It's a big scam. I mean, that's why they got these TV shows out there with Judge Judy to make you think that's the way it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. The FBI statistics tell you that themselves, the FBI says, 10% of the people that are in prisons didn't do one damn thing wrong. They didn't have the money. That's why you don't talk to the cops, really. Because anything you say, even if it's innocent, they could screw you over with it. They got a financial incentive. Well, not maybe so much the police, but maybe the prosecutors do. That's how they get ahead. The more people they prosecute, the better job they're doing of fighting crime. And what burns me up is the Christians buy into this crap. That's why I am so much. I got it up to my roof of my eyes with this Jesus stuff, because sometimes these Christians are the most naive people going. Actually, to tell you the truth, I think they really push this Jesus stuff far more to get people to obey. Back during the Roman times, I don't even want to show this anymore. This is whatever. Back during the Roman times, they used to push the pagan gods. They had to have something to keep people in line. They had to have some kind of code to keep people in line. So now they got Jesus, okay? Whatever. Maybe he's true, maybe he's not, but the more naive I'm finding out these Christians are, the less I am believing in Jesus as the Savior. I can tell you that right now. And I can tell you they need to keep this propaganda going on the major media. Like, this is how it works in the judicial system. I'm the all-knowing judge. No, you're not. You're probably, more than likely, these guys are crooks. And if you're going up New Jersey, half of them connected to the mob. Even though, statistically, they won't show you that. New Jersey doesn't show that bad as a extremely corrupt state. Somewhat corrupt. It's probably the most corrupt state in the whole damn freaking country. If you had New York City as a state itself, not the whole state, you'd probably see New York City as the most corrupt state by more than New Jersey. But it's actually the New York metropolitan area. Forget about it, man. Corrupt is all hell. Although a lot of stuff isn't on radar because the people that are trying to take these surveys and measure the corruption, they don't even get wind of what's going on. So they always got to portray to the public how everything just works dandy, and it doesn't. It doesn't. So Mr. Confederate over here, that supports the Confederate cause, me, if I was pres, I'd probably release 1 million brown people. I don't want to call black, because nobody's black. What do you think this is? Let's use the right term. Let's use the politically correct term. I don't know where the hell they came up with these black and white. We're beige and brown. I'd release loads of brown people, which are mainly of brown people in the prisons, and a lot of beige people, because I'd flat out pardon them too. If it's drug crime or whatever, it's some bullshit crime that didn't really do no harm to nobody, who gives a shit, okay? Who cares? But that's how I think. So don't try. The judicial system is a racket. It's another way to collect money off the public and feed the government. That's all it is. And the AMA protects even the worst judges. But Christians won't believe this, because even though well, I don't want to harp on them too much, but a lot of them are very naive. They live in a world of their own. They do not understand what's really going on. And, you know, that's part of the game. The media has to convince you, like, and portray something, a rosy picture that isn't reality. But, one little statistic can tell you that the reality is very bad in this country is that in the United States, we have a higher incarceration rate per capita than any other country in the world by far, even far more so than communist China. Yet we're supposed to be the bastion of freedom? No, we ain't. That can't possibly be. Over and out.